This afternoon, a growing focus on one particular member of the last administration by lawmakers looking into what happened on January 6th. Politico reporting the Select Committee has interviewed Richard Donahue, who was the Justice Department's second in command. And if you're not familiar with his name, it's probably a good time to learn it. Why? Because take a look. Politico laying out multiple committees that have been interested in talking with him or who already have. That might be because, as Politico reports, he took notes on a call between former President Trump and the then acting attorney general, quote, in which the former president had pressured Justice Department officials to call the 2020 election corrupt and illegal, even as they told Trump claims of voter fraud were false. With me now is national correspondent for Politico, Betsy Woodruff-Swan, the reporter behind that scoop, also an MSNBC political contributor. Betsy, it's good to have you on the show. Thank you. One of the things you pointed out in your piece is this is one of the panel's first interviews. Did they plan it that way? Is that just how things are shaken out? Should we read into that?
That's right. Donahue has so far aimed to be cooperative with congressional investigators looking into what happened on January 6th. That makes him a major outlier as far as former Trump administration officials. But he already spoke to a Senate committee about what happened. And now, of course, we've learned he is the first known person to be interviewed by the January 6th Select Committee. He's really important because he had just as much visibility as almost anyone into Trump's efforts to overturn the election. He also knew the senior leadership of DOJ inside out. He was a very close ally of Bill Barr's. Barr actually brought him from his first Trump administration job as a U.S. attorney in Brooklyn. Barr brought him down to Washington so that Donahue could be more involved in the inner workings and long-term strategizing of the Justice Department. When it comes to what happened at DOJ, there are people who know perhaps as much as Donahue, but nobody who knows more. And that means he's likely a treasure trove of information for these investigators.
What else are you learning, Betsy, that's in the works for that congressional committee?
We are expecting for there to be more action over the course of the next couple of weeks from this committee. We know that they've done several scripted interviews over the last several days. That's something that we've confirmed through reporting. Donahue is the only name who's out there, but questions as to who they talk to next are important. Another really important thing we're keeping an eye on is what happens with records the committee has been trying to get from inside the Trump White House related to January 6th. Right now, Trump's own lawyers are reviewing those records to decide if they're going to try to use executive privilege or ask the Biden administration to use executive privilege to keep those records secret. So the ball is currently in Trump's lawyers' court. Then it's going to be up to Biden's team to decide whether or not to protect the Trump administration's secrets or give those materials over to the January 6th Select Committee. And the Biden administration has been surprisingly opaque about how exactly they're going to make those specific decisions on those records.
That's an important point. Betsy Woodruff-Swan, thank you so much for being with us. Great to have you. Thanks.